guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a comparison video between the Chanel Classic Medium Flap Bag and the Gucci Marmont Small Flap Bag. So I've already listed down this Gucci Marmont flap for sale, but it hasn't been sold yet, so I thought why not for the meantime do a comparison video between this bag and the Chanel Classic Medium Flap, because they're two very similar bags with almost the same aesthetic and function. So they're both very beautiful bags, and I think at the end of this video what I really want to say is that how much of a good alternative this Gucci Marmont is to the Chanel flap bag. So for those of you who are thinking of purchasing the Gucci Marmont as an alternative to the Chanel flap, then continue watching as to how these two are very similar and how they can be different in style. So we'll first start off with the sizing and dimensions, and I'm going to be starting with the Chanel flap bag. So these dimensions I've gotten from the internet and they may actually differ, but for this particular Chanel flap bag, it measures 25.5 centimeters in length, 16 centimeters in height, and 7.5 meters in depth. The Gucci Marmont, on the other hand, measures 26 centimeters in length, 15 centimeters in height, and 7 centimeters in depth. So according to the internet, the Chanel Classic flap actually measures more than the Gucci Marmont, but in actual, the Gucci Marmont can actually fit a lot more than the Classic Medium flap. So if you can see, they're both very similar in size as well as the height. The only difference probably is that the Gucci Marmont stretches out a lot more, which is why it fits more in the long run. For the structure, on the other hand, of the Chanel flap, it's more rigid, it's more boxy, which is why it can stand on its own. The Gucci Marmont, on the other hand, is very pliable, like the leather is very pliable, and there's actually no base compared to the Chanel flap, where there's a hard, solid base. This one doesn't have any base, and even the sides are very soft and calfskin, which is why although this stands alone, it is more pliable and soft compared to the Chanel Classic flap. Next, we go on to the leather. So for the leather of the Chanel Classic flap, it is made out of caviar leather. It has a grainy finish to it, which is why it's very hard wearing and it doesn't scratch easily. Because of this very durable leather, it's something that you might want to consider if you want something that's going to last you for a long time, or if you want something that you can just throw around and carry carefree. Also, because of its caviar leather, it ends up giving this shiny sheen effect to it, which looks amazing in many different types of lighting. So as you can see, there goes the sheen. The Gucci flap, on the other hand, is made of soft calfskin leather, making it very pliable and very soft, very scratch prone. Although as much as it's scratch prone because of its calfskin, it's also easily buffed out. I'm not sure what element of the calfskin makes the scratches easily buffed out, but for some reason, if ever you do end up getting scratches on this Gucci Marmont, you can easily buff it out with either your fingers or the oil from your fingers or just the soft cloth, and it will be in perfect condition again. The calfskin also does have a good finish, however it doesn't give that much of a sheen as compared to the Chanel caviar leather. Also, I mentioned that it's very soft since it's in calfskin leather and it has no structure, so this is something that's easily pliable. Because if you're considering getting the Gucci Marmont, then you should probably take into account that this may be easily squished. So it's something that you really have to take care of and store properly in order for you to prevent any squishing or deformation of the bag. Next, we go on to the straps of both bags. So for the Chanel strap over here, so you can see it's in gold hardware, and this was actually a 7 series, which is why all the hardware is plated in 24 karat gold. However, if you do purchase one at present, which is brand new from the store, you won't be able to get the 24 karat gold plating as they used to anymore. So I'm just not so sure about the current quality of the Chanel hardware. As you can see, this is the strap of the Chanel Classic flap bag. So you can wear it over the shoulder, or you can adjust it to make it a longer strap as so. The length of the strap isn't as long as the Gucci Marmont, which is why it's almost impossible to crossbody this bag. So I believe that this bag was not meant to be crossbody. The chain strap is in the gold hardware chain and intertwined with the caviar leather strap. So some feedback of people about this type of chain is that it tends to be squeaky, but I think over time that eventually goes away. However, the newer ones have that characteristic to it that the chains of their flap bags are squeaky. So this one, since it's a very old bag, it doesn't really squeak anymore. So I don't have that problem with this bag. Also, since it doesn't have any other strap whatsoever, it's just all chain. Some people say that it tends to dig in their shoulders when worn. However, this hasn't really been a problem with me. I don't know if it's just the way I wear it or if it's because I'm just simply not bothered by the strap. Next, we have the chain of the Gucci Marmont. So the chain is actually very hollow, although it looks very solid and it has some substantial weight to it, but you know that the chain isn't really that heavy, which is perfect because it makes the total overall bag lightweight. So the chain over here, it's also in a gold finish, although this one has more of like a vintage gold hardware look to it. Also, as compared to the Chanel Classic flap, this one has a leather strap, which is perfect because it helps in carrying the bag, and it's very, very comfortable to wear due to this leather strap. Because of the length of this Gucci Marmont bag, you can wear it in more ways than the Chanel Classic flap. So you can wear it over the shoulder with the two straps up. You can wear it just on one shoulder with one strap up, or you can wear it crossbody with a leather strap as support to the weight of the bag. I would have to say though that the strap is one of my favorite features of this Gucci Marmont because it enables me to wear it in so many different ways and it's just very functional for my lifestyle. Next, we go on to the hardware. So I already mentioned earlier that the Chanel Classic flap has hardware which is made of 24 karat plated gold, and it is in shiny gold hardware. So the hardware for this one is the CC turn lock, which is easily open and closed just by turning the turn lock as so, and then you just open it and close the bag simply like that. So as I mentioned earlier, this is in the 24 karat gold plated hardware, and it's in a shiny finish, which is why this kind of hardware is more prone to scratches as compared to the Gucci Marmont. The closure of the Gucci Marmont, on the other hand, is simply here below. It's something that you just push at the bottom as so, and it opens. And if you want to close it, all you have to do is align it with a lock and close. So if you heard that sound, that's the sound clicking from the spring closure that it provides. So it's very, very easy and very functional because it's something that's just perfect if you're on the go or if you're in a hurry. It's something you can easily open with one push and close with one push. So that's something that I like about the Gucci Marmont because it's something that you can just easily use worry-free. And opening and closing the bag just simply needs one action, so it's very easy and functional to use. Also, since the hardware is in the antique gold finish, I would say that it's less prone to scratches. Or if it does get scratches, it's not very obvious anymore because that's the actual finish of the bag. So as compared to the Chanel, where it's very shiny and it has this like perfect sleek finish to it, it's very obvious to spot the scratches on that one. However, with this antique gold hardware, if it does get any scratches, people would just think that it's part of the bag and it'll be part of the entire character of the bag. Next, we go on to the interior of the bags. So this is 7 series, so if you open it, it actually doesn't have the red burgundy interior as compared to the current styles these days. So when they were doing the 7 series, they still did the black interior with their bags, which is why this particular bag has the black interior. Now the interior does have a double flap, so when you open it, there's the double flap over here. So it protects your stuff, so once you open it, you can't really access the interior of the bag right away. So you have to open the double flap for you to access all your belongings inside. So this double flap, I would say, it's something that's kind of a nuisance. It may be a nuisance to some because it does make it harder to get into the bag. So if you're quickly trying to get something from your bag, it's going to be a little harder because you have to rummage through both flaps. Also, the double flap gives it structure. So because of the double flap, you can put less items in your bag. Because as you can see, it limits the opening of the bag to just up to here, which is why you can't really fill it up to the brim. So that's one negative thing I could probably say about this classic flap, because it ends up accommodating less items than it probably could without the double flap. So when you do open the double flap over here, it's currently stuffed with paper, but what you would see are 3 compartments inside with like a lipstick compartment, and then you have one compartment over here in the front where you can probably put like some documents, cash, or what have you. Then you do have the secret compartment inside, so you can probably fill stuff in there at the back. And finally, you have this zip compartment on top, where it was said that Coco Chanel used to put her love letters, but it's actually a very small compartment. I don't know what you would probably try to fit in there, but this is another compartment that this bag features. And finally, we also have the Mona Lisa pocket at the back, where you can also put probably some cards or random parking tickets and what have you. Now for the interior of the Gucci Marmont, you open it over here, it just has the pink microfiber interior in the inside, and it does have this little zip compartment where you can put items that you want to keep safe. So as compared to the Chanel Classic flap, this bag does not have a double flap, which is why you can fit way more items inside. Because of this, something that I could share to you guys is that this bag can actually fit a regular sized book, probably like a pocket book, as compared to the Chanel Classic flap, which I believe is just impossible to put any book or notebook in it. So that's great because it doesn't have a second flap, so you can really stuff this bag and put a lot of your items. I would say you can probably put 50% more items in this bag as compared to the Chanel Classic flap, because it's very cramped up inside when you use the Chanel Classic medium flap. Next, for the waist to wear. So I'm probably just going to be putting a video of me doing modeling shots of the bag, but for the Chanel Classic medium flap, you can wear this double strap over the shoulder, single strap over the shoulder, and sometimes you can make it like a handheld bag by hiding the chains inside and wearing it like as a clutch bag. The Gucci Marmont, on the other hand, because of its long chain, you can wear this double strap over the shoulder, single strap over the shoulder, and crossbody. The chain of this is very loose, and it does have the leather strap, so I don't think you can wear this as a clutch bag. Finally, for the pricing, the Chanel Classic flap currently retails for $5,300 US, while the Gucci Marmont flap bag retails for $1,980 US. So as you can see, they have such a difference in price. But for the $5,300 US you're paying for a premium classic flap that's going to be timeless and it's going to last you a lifetime. However, there's the cheaper alternative, which is the Gucci Marmont, which is only $1,980 US. But you'd have to consider that this is something that's very trendy and in the moment. So if you're planning to invest your money in a bag, then that's also another thing to consider if this is actually worth putting your money into. So in summary, both are really great bags, and it's really just up to you which bag suits your lifestyle a little more. I would say though that the Gucci Marmont is really a great alternative for the Chanel Classic flap, because it just has so many elements that I think are very comparable and can compete with the functions that the Chanel Classic medium flap have. So if you're thinking of getting a Gucci flap as an alternative for the Chanel flap for the meantime, like if you're still currently saving for a Chanel flap and you're thinking of getting the Gucci Marmont first, then I really recommend it because it's such a great bag and you're not going to regret making the purchase. So there you have it. That was my comparison of the Chanel Classic medium flap and the Gucci Marmont flap bag. I hope that if you were contemplating on either of the two bags, then this video gave you some insight and helped you in making your decision. If you have any comments or suggestions on this video, then just comment them down below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!